entrepreneurial kind of gatherings, you can hear that any entrepreneur changes their business plan, business model, website 10 to 15 times throughout the life of the business. I think we hit that level. So, my health experience. According to Wikipedia, experience is defined as base knowledge or learning from observation or participation in events. And we figured that in anyone's life, health is a sequence of many, many events. And it would be great to learn from other people's mistakes, knowledge, opinions. So that's what my health experience is all about. We help healthcare consumers identify best resources and providers of healthcare by virtual word of mouth. I have to read it because otherwise I don't know what it's all about. It's complicated, but it's not. If you have a good experience with your physician, gym, service, diet plan, link, article, you let the world know that it worked for me. And usually it helps many people, not everyone though. Why? Because people are different. Recommendation of the best pediatrician for me would not work for my close friend who lives in Boston, though we very similar in many cases. So it's very much individual. And it starts usually with, gee, I have a problem, I need to go see a physician. And I'm going to launch our live demo. This is the tech preview. It's been out for a few weeks. It replaces that looking site we had before. I'm not going to show you, but if you're curious, it's healthproweb.com, and in about 2 weeks, that site will be replaced with this one. So usually, as I said, it starts with doctor search. I have a condition, I have a problem, help me, let me find the right doctor for me. And if you're aware of many, many different doctor searches on the web today, it usually have the fields like specialty, area, maybe first name, last name if you happen to know the physician, and so some have what insurance company do they accept. I have not seen the checkbox that says is he a good doctor or not. I have not seen that. Location. We'll go a little bit further than that. We define language doctor speaks in. And then you can see some of the personalization options. And these are the education level, location, hospital affiliation. Not only we let you click on them and say, yes, for me it's important. And by the way, for me, education of a doctor is everything. It's weight of 9. And I would prefer that my doctor, pediatrician, would be a female. And you can say the hospital affiliation, how important that the doctor is affiliated with a good hospital. We have metrics behind this. We define our own metrics, evaluating the experience level, education, so on and so forth. But the interesting thing is that it's not what we think, it's what you think, because your weights define your sorting criteria. I happen to know the name of the doctor I usually use as the pediatrician for my daughter. So I'm going to type it in, and I can hit search, and it finds the doctor, Galina Feinstein, excellent pediatrician, lives in Staten Island. I would recommend anyone who lives in Staten Island as a pediatrician. But we just went through a very interesting sequence because I picked the criteria important to me. My daughter is 6 years old, typical 6-year-old, but her first language happens to be Russian. And the best pediatrician for any one of you might not work for her, even if you live in my neighborhood. So to me, language is the most important thing, and that's what I'm going to identify in the search. And what's interesting is from here, you do want to know who reviewed this doctor. Well, you want to know some basic stuff. So let's see. We know where she works, we know her practice, we can look up her education. She graduated in Russia and Ukraine actually, and you can look at the hospital. For some hospitals, we have information like top 100 list in different sources. What else? We can see the hospital shares associated with other practices, ratings, and we see that there are no external ratings, but this doctor was recommended by at least 2 users. One of them is me. And you can jump in and see who is person who left the review. A biggest common complaint for searches, any kind of searches, whether it's a doctor search or car search or TV search, is that you have no idea who is the person that left the review. And when you're looking for car, you probably couldn't care less. It's a given model. People like the way it drives. Probably will work for you. With doctors, it doesn't work this way. You want to know if there is especially bad review. Why? Is that because doctor is bad or because the patient is not? So the page or information about the reviewer gives you a lot of insight into what trick that patient to leave a bad review or a good review. And
3 minutes, Dan.
okay. So what happens is we breach into the entire social media site. And if you wouldn't be for example, if you wouldn't be a user, as I'm obviously a user of this site, you would see a join button. I'll show you in a second. And you can see, for example, my status, my interests, what I do here. You can see some of the personal information, and I can choose whether it's private or public, information about me. And that information, that profile, that is a little bit squeezed because of resolution, used behind in our engine to do the matches, intelligent matches. We collect that information from people, and we recommend the stuff based on the people's similarity. Now, if you go ahead and spend 25 minutes filling out this profile and beat it to death, and my language is this and my conditions are that, it would be very useful, but nobody will do it. We realize that. So our engine became just a little bit smarter than that. Our engine looks at the behavioral patterns in people's communication, tries to figure out why people connect. Why did you join this community? Is that because you have this condition, or you have a person that you embody in that network? And we're trying to figure out why people connect. And little by little, not intrusively, we start giving you the recommendations. Hey, maybe there is this person that might share the experience with you because you look alike. You start rejecting or accepting our recommendations, and that's how you create this feedback loop. That's how we learn if we're good, if we're on target, or need to completely change our perception of you. It happens with the time, not overnight, but as long as you participate on the site, we have ability to learn about you and start giving you recommendations. For example, these are my recommendations. I have not accepted them just for you to show. But Sandy, who is here, is a buddy of Eugene, who is here, and the system, after a little bit of thinking, said, hey, maybe you should talk to Sandy. And there is somebody else who might have the same conditions as I do. These conditions do not need to be public, but the system sees them, recognizes them, and then suggests. And again, whether it's based on common people that I know or condition is decided by me, not by the system or not by anyone else. So idea behind this, virtual word of the mouth, where we help people match cases to cases and then flow the advice, flow recommendations.
Thanks. And
sure.
Open it up for questions.